Hello, you beautiful individuals. Today we are taking a look again at Kyle. And the reason we're looking at Kyle in particular, other than his just bizarre view of the world, is actually he was requested by, oh God, what was his name now? Marco PG8MS? I don't know. I'm sorry if I didn't say that correctly, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Something like that. Wrote it down somewhere, but I seem to have lost that piece of paper. But anyway, yeah, so also this video in particular, I've kind of been a fan of Jon Stewart. I mean, hell, since I was a kid. Since I was in like, oh God, I don't know. I was young. But anyway, yeah, so I figured why not? And usually people that have an issue with the media, which don't get me wrong. I mean, the media has some major faults, but I have a sneaking suspicion his view is going to be just hilarious to look at. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started.
It's important to know that the media constantly lies to you.
Right there. I mean, listen, does the media lie? Is it biased? Whatever. Yeah, of course it's going to be. It's made by people. People lie. People are biased. But that doesn't mean the media as a whole is a bad thing. The media is actually very fundamental in our country, especially, but around the world. I mean, without it, we wouldn't know what was going on. I mean, now we have social media and everyone's kind of connected at the fingertips, but the media is definitely important. And to just that blanket statement of just all media bad, it's lying. It's like you just sound ignorant. But anyway,
they're full of hypocrites, that the US is really a misinformation industrial complex. They are a giant propaganda machine. And they give you the illusion that you live in a free society with choice. Oh, we have freedom of the press. We have freedom of speech. But do we actually?
yes, yes, we do. Listen, does the U.S. have issues? Absolutely. Every country does. But I'm sorry, Kyle. I mean, dang near anywhere else in the world. Do you really think it's going to be better? I mean, do you realize how, like, oppressed and, I mean, the human rights violations, dear Lord, the certain countries in this world, I mean, they treat their people like actual garbage. And yes, could the U.S. be doing better? Absolutely. Is there countries out there that, in my opinion, do better with their citizens? Yeah, sure. I mean, but to say this, you're just, I mean, come on, man. Like, I'm not saying the U.S. is perfect because it's not, but I mean, there's not many other countries I'd want to live in. There's definitely countries I would live in for sure. But I mean, the U.S. ain't that bad, man. I mean, hell, it lets you sit in your room and make these kind of videos. I mean, there's places in the world where you literally cannot do that. I mean, there's places in the world where the internet is so restricted that, whatever. Anyway, sorry. Let's try to actually make it through. We're not going to make it through this whole video. I'm already talking way too much for that.
I mean, the federal government and intelligence agencies openly collude with the media and social media companies to silence dissent, to control narratives. It's a huge cathedral. It's a big scam. We need to be aware of this. I'm sure most of you are, because...
Yes, sure. I mean, it's going to be like that anywhere, though, Kyle. And here's the thing. Overall, it's not that bad here. Literally any person, you, me, could essentially start a blog or YouTube channel or some form of news like media and completely control it and post whatever we want to without any interference from the government at all. And that's not something that can be said everywhere, like not even close. So to just say this about just the U.S., it's just this horrible place, like, you're just ignorant. Like, just, I mean, appreciate what you have. There's so many people who would, I mean, kill for what you have, to live the way we live here. and to just be so ridiculous. I'm gonna need alcohol for this. Give me 1 second. Okay, and we're back with alcohol, because, yeah, I'm gonna need to be drunker for this for sure. Anyway,
Because they weaponize narratives, they weaponize language. We see abortion, killing a baby. They say it's healthcare.
Kyle, it is. It is healthcare, my man. It's not, for one, it's not killing a baby. I'm sorry, it's just not. It's killing a lump of cells. And look, if you believe otherwise, that's fine. That's your opinion. I get it. But do you realize the things that happen in this world, especially to women? Do you realize that there are extremely underage girls that can get, unfortunately, abused by relatives and then impregnated by relatives? And you're telling me they shouldn't be allowed to get an abortion? They should be forced to carry out that term if they don't want to, of that baby that might come out God knows what. And then just the trauma through. I mean, do you realize how traumatic giving birth is to a woman? I mean, even if they completely want the baby, like I have a daughter, and we wanted her for sure. Obviously, why we had her. But it's still a very traumatic experience for the woman, through the mind and physically. And to say that, I mean, I knew this man was ridiculous, but I didn't realize how just bigoted and ignorant he actually was. Man, good suggestion, Marco. PG8MS. I'm sure there's a better way to say that. So if you want to tell me, I will correct myself in the future. I'm definitely going to have to look at some more videos of greasy-haired Kyle here.
It's reproductive justice. We see a man dressed as a woman teaching gender ideology to little children. They say, no, it's about tolerance and inclusion. We see that they're pushing medically transitioning minors, giving them hormone blockers, and we say, what's with that? And they say, no, it's life-affirming medical care. To call out these people.
No, you don't need to call out these people. For one, look, I mean, I'm not going to go into when and where and how, what age is right for the whole gender thing. But listen, gender, just like sex, is sexual orientation, is purely a spectrum. It just is. It's not, listen, we're not talking biologically here. We're talking within one's own mind, essentially, within one's own beliefs and being. And just like I'm not going to sit here and tell you shouldn't be religious, or I'm not even going to sit here and tell you shouldn't believe these ignorant things you do. But yeah, I'm going to call you out on him. And I mean, he's doing the same thing, I guess, for what he believes, but at least what I believe doesn't exclude a fair majority of people and doesn't actually hurt people, especially the abortion thing. Dear Lord, Kyle, come on, sort your life out, man.
And their lies and their hypocrites. There is a war going on for your mind.
Somebody like Flowbots?
Ongoing third world war is a information war. The meme war. It's a spiritual.
The meme war. The meme war. Wow. I've never heard that one before. That's interesting. The Antichrist hates troll memes. Make more. Kyle, come on, man. Why do you always gotta tie everything to religion? Not everything in the world has to be tied to religion. I mean, not everything is about what you believe religiously, especially some magic sky daddy that created everything. Is he a young earther? Does anyone know? I don't actually know if he is. I'm curious. If anyone knows if Kyle believes in the whole young earth nonsense or not, please let me know.
War for what people see, for what they hear, because that controls what people believe. We need to understand this, and we really need to take it to heart, because we'll say all these things, yeah, the media lies and they're full of hypocrites, but we still, at the end of the day, do have a lot of trust in the media. We need to actually live.
Because you should, essentially. I mean, listen, Is all media perfect? No. Is there media that does lie and is extremely biased one way or the other? Absolutely. But there's also media that's not. There's media that tries very hard to be as unbiased as possible. And it's up to you to decide what you believe and what you should look at. You shouldn't just exclude all media. I mean, do you realize if you didn't have that freedom of press, like if we didn't have the news media, how little we would know about what's going on in the world? We would just rely on word of mouth through social media? Is that what you're suggesting? Or do you want to get rid of social media too? You just want to, you just want to completely like lock down sectors of the world. We should only know what's going on with our neighbor or something. Maybe he's xenophobic. Maybe that's what's going on. I don't know. It's a very, very interesting character.
We know that they're lying to us. So I was on Twitter and I saw the perfect example of everything that I've been talking about. And it comes from Jon Stewart, who is a very hateful person. Please.
What do you mean he's hateful? What are you talking about? For one, I mean, at the end of the day, Jon Stewart, I'm sorry, but he's a comedian. Like, yes, he's also, you can consider him like a news personality for sure. But he makes it funny. And he that's like his whole shtick. And he's good at it. And he's really, I mean, he's not that, like, everyone's biased, of course, but, I mean, I've watched him for years, and I've seen him go on both sides of things, and taken, it's not like he just, straight up says, like, I mean, like, sorry to say it, but like Fox News, I mean, they're pretty one-sided, if you will. I mean, not all of it, sure, there's small parts that I guess aren't, but for him, I mean, he's actually pretty decent for a media person, and he's funny. And why anyway, let's listen to his reasons for Jon Stewart being a hateful person. Obviously, it's just because Jon Stewart doesn't agree with everything Kyle says. That's why he's most likely hateful. I'm probably considered hateful too.
Please pray for him, but he's supposedly a comedian and a political commentator, and they're talking about, the drag.
Why did he quote? He is a comedian. Like, that's, I mean, he essentially got famous on Comedy Central. Like, he is a comedian. There's no need for quotes there.
Drag Queen Story Hour, but then he pivots it. You're going to see exactly what I'm talking about in a very deceptive way, and we're going to see that it's completely rhetoric. And why is this the hill to die on? Why is allowing drag queens in front of kids the hill to die on, like the most moral thing?
Why is it, dude? Why do you care? Like, listen, if it's not your kids, like if you don't want your kids to be in front of a drag queen, okay, sure, that's your belief and it's your kid. You can raise and do with how you will. But not everyone is as ignorant and small-minded as you. People realize that, as you say, drag queens, whatever word you want to use, and they're just people like anyone else. Like, it's not like they're going up to kids and saying, "Hey, be just like me." Like, no, they're what they're actually doing is showing the kids that do want to be like them that it's okay, and that they're not crazy or wrong for believing that, and they're not like these hateful people, as you will. And I just, man, I don't know if should I put the Jon Stewart part in? I feel like he's gonna show an actual Jon Stewart clip. Like, will I get whatever copyright nonsense for that? I mean, if he put it, then surely I can, right? I don't know. And we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens.
You want to ban drag show readings to children.
To my knowledge, yes.
Why? Is that free speech? Are you infringing on that performer's free speech?
They can continue to exercise their free speech, just not in front of a child.
Why?
Why do I even need to explain this? It is inappropriate for a man dressed as a woman to teach gender ideology to little kids. Drag queens have always been in the context of sexual things. Are we going to let a stripper, a porn star, read books to...
That's not... No. And listen, once again, they're showing the children that, and not just children, but people in general that want to be like that it is okay. And you missed his whole point. For one, I've watched that particular like that whole thing, they were talking about gun rights. Like that was the the big thing there. Like how that particular person, whoever he was talking to there, I can't remember the dude's name that Jon Stewart was talking to, but how he will not, basically like will not give any limitations to gun rights at all because that's infringing on gun rights. But that's not infringing on free speech. Do you not get his point? Because it is. It's free speech. It's what we pride ourselves on here. And before anyone says nonsense about Twitter and all that, once again, that's private companies. They can do how they want. Free speech is simply meaning I can do this. I can say what I want out in public and will not get in trouble for it or be arrested. And that's like what you're trying to accomplish here with this video is going down a dangerous road to limiting. It's the First Amendment. It's I'm not saying it's the most important one, but it's pretty damn important. Like it's the fundamental ideology of our entire country is that we have this freedom of speech and this freedom of press and this freedom of religion, so you can believe the crazy things you believe and spew it forth into the internet and not be arrested for it. And I can as well, but at least the things I believe aren't actually hurting people or won't hurt people like you want to, clearly. I mean, you literally want to limit people's speech. So you don't want freedom of speech. That's what you're talking about. That's what you're calling. I can't even. Let's keep pushing through this.
The children, it's
Wrong.
weird. Like, why is he defensive? It's free speech. This is not what the founders intended. When they have free speech.
Okay. Have you talked to a founder? You know what they intended? No. And listen, what they intended was free speech. It's pretty well written and very well documented and very simplistic language. What you're like, how do you not understand what you're suggesting and what you're getting at is infringing on that free speech, is going against free speech? Like, I don't understand. How are you this dumb, Kyle?
Speech, it's free political speech that you can criticize the government. They did not intend free speech to have a man dressed as a woman teaching a little kid. I mean, it's
No, it's not just about the government. It's about being able to go out and say what you will and not be arrested for it. Whether it's criticizing the government or cussing at a cop. I mean, I'm not saying you should do that, but you can. You can go tell a cop to F off and you can't be arrested for it. I mean, sure, some cops, I guess, definitely might, maybe. But, not allowed to, really. I mean, that's the whole point of free speech. And that's also the point is that, yes, this, as you say, drag queen or whatever, can read a book to children. And there should be no problem with that. If those children's parents have no issue with it, it's none of your business. Like, just why? It doesn't affect you. It doesn't hurt you personally. So why? Why are you... Kyle. Oh, man. Your name just had to be Kyle.
It just is so bizarre that this is their hill to die on. Why do you want to ban that? What? Why do you not want to ban that? Why do you want to promote something that is just...
It's not about promoting. It's about not why I don't want to ban that. It's 'cause I don't want to ban any form of free speech. And yes, that even means the, nonsense like you say, or even going horribly to the other side, like, horrendously racist or bigoted things. Like, that is also free speech. And yes, I believe that if those people want to say it, they should be allowed to say it. Now, may there be consequences from other people, the public? Yeah, absolutely. But at the end of the day, that's the whole thing with free speech. Anyone should be allowed to speak their mind freely and openly without getting arrested or prosecuted or persecuted by the government. They shouldn't be banned because they're... he's reading a book. Like, it's not... You act like... I don't know. Let's keep going. Man, I'm not even halfway done with this.
So, at the very least, it's strange.
Because the government does have a responsibility to protect.
I'm sorry?
The government does have...
Do you see how smug and arrogant he is? He's like, whoa, what's the problem? The government has a Yes, the government has a responsibility to protect kids from sexualized content, from things that are not appropriate for children. But instead, John's about to pivot it and bring it about mass shootings and gun control.
That's what they were talking about. He's not pivoting. That was the start of the conversation. Anyway, I can't keep going. This video is going to be too long, and I'm gonna just repeatedly punch myself in the face until I'm blacked out, so I don't have to hear your draining voice or your idiotic opinion about these subjects. Listen, at the end of the day, it's free speech. That's all that matters. Like, what you are doing is trying to infringe on it. You're trying to ban part of it. Only the part that suits your narrative and your beliefs, of course. Like, if that person was, you know, like, what if that cross-dresser or drag queen, whatever words you used, what if they were teaching religion? Would you have an issue with them then? If they were spreading the word of God? Like, would then you probably would, actually. I don't know. Maybe if you make it this far into the video, Kyle, you can let me know if you'd have an issue with a transgender person or a drag queen or whatever other words you feel like using, if they were spreading the word of, you know, of your particular brand of religion. I don't know what that is. I've seen a lot of titles in your videos just by glancing Orthodox Christianity, so maybe that's what you believe. I don't know for sure. Don't really care. Oh man, but yeah. Anyway, let's just end this here because this is just too painful. And yeah, we'll come back to Kyle again. We'll find a different video, and you know, try not to just repeatedly hit myself in the face until I'm either dumb enough to understand what he's saying or knocked out. Or maybe I'll just be drunker next time. I think that's the way to go. Anyway, until next time.